Pattaya used to be a paradise. Now it is a cesspit. That is the title of a story that somebody submitted to your channel not long back. I'm submitting my story because I completely disagree with what he said. I've only been to Pattaya once, but this is my experience that I will never forget. So here is my story, and yes, believe it or not, it involves a bar girl that I met in Pattaya. It's an ongoing story, and I would just like to know what you listeners would do if they found themselves in my position. I'm from Canada, and when my friend asked me to come along on a trip to Thailand, I wasn't exactly rushing to say yes. I'm all for adventures, but hopping on a plane for hours and travel halfway across the world just didn't feel like the smartest way to spend my time or cash, especially on a place I've never really been interested in. I've been around, travelled all over the US, done a bit of South America, gotten lost in Europe, even been to a few places in Africa like Kenya and Uganda. But Asia, that was a whole new world for me. My friend picked Thailand for a reason. He's half Thai and half Canadian, and his family had a condo there just sitting empty. And the best part was we could stay there for free, which made the whole trip way more appealing. I didn't do any homework before the trip. I already knew Thailand had great food and everyone talks about the gorgeous women, but other than that, I had no clue what to expect. When we first got to his condo in that supposed beach town, I had absolutely no idea what to expect, and that place was called Pattaya. I honestly had no clue about Pattaya before I got there, and had no idea what to expect before arriving. My friend was pretty secretive about the place, but guaranteed me I'll enjoy it. Before this trip, my usual spots for the crazy nights were Mexico, which I have been there 3 times, and Las Vegas, where I've been 10 times. Those places lived up to their hype, but they also completely drained my wallet each time I went. Those vacations always wrecked my bank account. Crazy expensive drinks, fancy hotels, and endless traps for spending money. It felt like I had been thrown into some crazy alternate reality. Music pounding every direction, girls and tourists are everywhere. It was the kind of place where normal rules didn't seem to exist. I was wondering and trying to figure out why nobody had ever told me about this place before. Mexico and Vegas couldn't even compare. That whole first night got permanently planted into my brain. I had really never seen anything like it before, and I mean that in a good way. The crazy part was how clueless I really was. I noticed the go-go dancers, but their little numbered tags didn't even register with me. The idea that you could basically bar fine one for the night like it was nothing never once occurred to me. The whole system completely flew over my head. How things worked here had nothing to do with how handsome you are, where you are from, or how charming you are. All that mattered was how much money you had in your pocket. Truth is, I likely would have struck out completely that night if one of the dancers hadn't straight up told me to take her. It was her that told me about the bar fine system and that we could leave the bar together to either go home, go on a date, or just do some bar hopping. She definitely noticed my obvious clueless foreigner vibe from a mile away. Not that I'm complaining, she was gorgeous, and what started as a simple night out became way more unforgettable than I'd ever imagined. I'm pretty sure I was overcharged for everything that night because of how clueless I seemed, but I didn't let it bother me. It was my first night. I was gonna go all out. These women were unreal. Like nothing back home had even come close. They had beautiful smiles, great to look at, and wicked personalities. I dove in head first without hesitation. Those first 3 days in Pattaya, I got, well, very familiar with different women. It was a case of getting up, having breakfast with my friend, doing some walking around, and then going straight to new bars around evening time. Towards the end of the night, it would be lady drinks, flirting, and then a bar fine. Rinse and repeat the next day. Every single one of them blew my mind just as much as the last. It felt like some fantasy world, the kind you never want to leave. When day 4 came along, I had to force myself to hit pause. I was literally wearing myself out. I played it cool with all 4 women I had met, telling each one I'd definitely meet up again without committing to any specific times. Keeping my options wide open seemed smarter than getting tied down to any plans. Now that I think about it, their eagerness to see me again makes perfect sense in hindsight. I kept ordering them drinks like money didn't matter and paying premium prices just to hang out with them. Yes, I am that newbie foreigner you see, experiencing Pattaya for the first time, throwing money around like it's Monopoly cash. That night I said I would take off and rest didn't exactly go to plan. I ended up right back in the thick of it. This time, I went out alone without my friend and found myself bar hopping along a soi that people call soy pothole. I was in a bar there, a bar that will remain anonymous for obvious reasons. I ordered a drink and sat down looking onto the soi, just people watching. It wasn't long until this 23-year-old bar girl hooked me before I even realised what was happening. Her face could stop traffic. She was a pro at talking to foreigners, and she laughed at my lamest jokes like they were comedy gold. I saw myself being reeled in by her, but although I knew it was happening, I just sat back and let it happen. I didn't even try and get myself out of there. We drank together, I shot pool with her, and just let myself enjoy every minute. No pressure, no overthinking, just enjoying the moment, and everything felt absolutely right. By closing time, the total on my bill made my eyes widen. But stacked against the ridiculous amount of fun I'd just had, it still felt like I had gotten away with something. Back in any other major city where I've been, a night like that would have cost me a month's rent. Here in Pattaya, it felt like getting the full luxury experience for street food prices. The night kept going, of course. We went back to my place, and even though I had completely worn myself out, we ended up having an incredible time together. She definitely backed up all that teasing with serious skills. Then morning came, and I surprised myself. Did something I hadn't done with any other girl there. I rolled over, looked at her, and the words just came out. Let's get some breakfast. I know, newbie move, right? That breakfast somehow stretched into the entire day together instead of the usual quick goodbye. She insisted on showing me around Pattaya, and I went along with it. Beach, mall, and Jomtien, where it is a little bit more relaxed. The whole day had this surreal feeling, like I knew I should not be going on a date with a bar girl, but it's like I'd stepped outside my normal life completely. Again, I wasn't complaining one little bit. As the night time was coming, she mentioned stopping by her place to pick up some new clothes. At that point, I'd stopped overthinking completely. This was just part of the wild ride, and I was fully committed. I was on holiday, so I did not care. It's not like I'm going to fall in love with this girl, is it? Or so I thought. She cleaned up at her place, then we headed back to my condo to shower, which naturally led to something else. We showered, settled her bar fee at the club, and that night played out just as wild as before. Drinking, partying, and just having a ton of fun from start to finish. Those next 4 days melted together in one wild, non-stop rush. Yes, I had broken the 3-day rule, but I had no idea what that was at the time. It wasn't until later I heard about that. We squeezed in as much as we could, going to the zoo, to island hopping, and just relaxing in the room watching movies. We even made time for some stupid, sweet ice cream runs. You may be cringing listening to this by now, and that's fine, because I'm cringing remembering it all, like a teenager in love all over again. I covered every last bat, which was fine, because it still added up to the most affordable, ridiculous fun I'd ever had playing tourist. A decent sit-down meal for both of us at a mall restaurant ran about 500 baht, basically lunch money. Back home, just one overpriced cocktail for some girl would have cost triple that. Pattaya was completely different. Her looks were only the beginning. The girl had me constantly cracking up until my stomach hurt. Hands down, one of the most funny, entertaining women I'd ever been around. The kind who could light up any room without even trying. Back in Canada, scoring a 20-year-old like her would have been borderline impossible, and if by some miracle I did, she'd have to be 1 in a million. Realistically, I'd wind up with some 33-year-old Canadian woman already sizing up wedding rings on the first date, and we all know how that game plays out. This girl broke the mold completely. Nothing like the usual bar scene stereotypes. The following morning, I was scheduled to return to Bangkok with my friend for a couple of days. Since he planned to meet up with his old friends there, I expected to have plenty of solo time to do my own thing. I scrapped the city plans completely. I wanted to see how things played out with this girl away from the Pattaya scene. I ended up booking us a beachfront hotel away from all the party scene, figuring the change of scenery might be interesting. I needed us out of the walking street circus, just a calm, low-key spot where we could actually connect without all the partying and temptation. The real test was whether that spark would last once you stripped away the Pattaya party atmosphere. I let my friend know we'd meet at the airport in 4 days, then dropped it to the girl like it was nothing. Hey, we're taking a quick trip somewhere quiet. Played it cool like this was just some last minute idea and no pressure. I wasn't fooling myself. This was strictly business for her. Every day together meant another bar fine paid, and that is just how the game worked in that part of the world. I handed her cash for those 4 days right away. She never even haggled over the price, which is a good thing because I probably would have ended up paying whatever number she came up with. She'd always shrug and say, "Up to you." So each morning I'd give her 2,000 baht, and she seemed pretty happy with that. I couldn't help but smirk remembering Vegas girls who'd bled me for 500 just for a boring dinner date. Those Vegas experiences were fine, but stacked against what my money got me in Pattaya, the difference was almost comical. It's not just the money really, it's the person you are with also. Thai girls have got to be some of the sweetest, most beautiful girls I have ever come across. Compare these girls to the girls I've met in Canada or other places, Thai girls are always far ahead. Our little getaway turned out perfect. She brought her A game the entire time, and I'm not exaggerating. Taking a girl away from the bar environment changes everything. Suddenly, you're seeing the actual person when there's no work pressure or expectations, and she absolutely crushed it. She wasn't flirting or looking at other guys like a bar girl would normally do. She was fully focused on us having a good time. She didn't bring up money, didn't talk about going to bars, nothing about work. It was really great to get away from all of that for a while. By our last day, I was already mentally planning my return trip. Might have even started counting the weeks until I could come back. Something about our time together felt real. Not just the surface level good times, but something deeper that stuck with me. That final Sunday before flying out, I switched things up. I went off script in a way I hadn't planned. I handed her some extra cash, no instructions, no expectations attached. This wasn't some attempt to save her, so to speak, or change her job, just money she could use however she wanted. I wanted to thank her for the time she spent with me and for giving me an experience I'd never forget. I also wanted to help her out a little bit. I made sure the amount could cover 5 or 6 months of basic living, enough that she could walk away from bar work tomorrow if she chose. The math worked out to a simple but doable monthly budget, buying her time to breathe and make real decisions without too much pressure. I calculated everything carefully. Her share of the apartment ran 3,000 baht, split with her friend. Another 3,000 for her mother back home, plus 4,000 for meals and spending money. So when all was said and done, I gave her enough to handle that full 10,000 baht monthly cost for nearly half a year. So I gave her around 60,000 baht. I would like to say she was hesitant in taking it, but she wasn't. She snatched it up as quickly as she could. But I can't blame her. It was a lot of money for her. She explained how she only picked up occasional shifts in Pattaya. Most of her time was spent back home in the village with her family. She, like many other girls, went to Pattaya to make money to send back home to their poor family in the villages. It was a pretty normal setup back there. Her parents, a younger sister already settled down with a baby, and an older sister who started her own family too. But her aunt, now that was the wild card in the family. Same village, same ordinary life, except for the 75-year-old European guy she lived with. The mad thing about that situation is the aunt was barely 25. Now, I don't like to judge, and there is an age difference between me and the girl I met, but 75 years old and a 29-year-old is just way too much in my opinion. I think it's safe to say she is with him for the money and counting on a nice chunk of change once he goes. I want to be honest, my reason for giving her that money weren't completely selfless. Yes, a part of me wanted to help, but another part liked how it made me feel. For once, I could play the generous guy, even if the whole situation wasn't as noble as I pretended. As my Thailand trip wrapped up, I realised something pretty rare. Nobody had tried to cheat me or pull any shady moves. That clean streak left me wanting to walk away, having actually improved things, not just taken from the experience. I wasn't trying to play hero, just wanted to leave without any negative energy hanging around. Of course, part of me wondered how she'd actually use that cash. Maybe she'd really quit the bar scene, or maybe nothing would change at all. Either way, I'd never know. I made a deal with myself. If she was still at the bar in a month or so, I'd send her a message and break off whatever this thing is we had going on. Keeping it casual was the goal, but reality was creeping in. This either had to lead to something, or I'd have to call it a day. I don't want to do the whole long-distance relationship with a Thai girl like many foreigners end up doing. 3 days after I flew home, she messaged me. It turns out she was already on that 12-hour bus trek back to her village. So much for my exit plan. She left Pattaya way faster than I expected. I was glad that she put the money to good use, but a part of me was left thinking that she would have taken the money and I'd never hear from her again. The message that she sent me hit all the expected notes. An invitation to her village, the classic "I love you" line, and the hint about playing generous foreigner with her family's food and drinks. Every Pattaya cliché wrapped up in one message, really. The only thing that wasn't included in this cliché was the request for more money, and after what I had already given her, I'm glad there wasn't. Now, things have changed about what I will be walking into on my next trip to Thailand. This wasn't some casual return trip to Pattaya's bars or Bangkok's streets. I was heading straight for her hometown in the middle of nowhere. No pit stops, no side adventures. The village would be my first and only destination. I mean, if everything went pear-shaped, maybe I'll take a detour through Pattaya or Bangkok on the return trip. But for now, her hometown was the plan. It wouldn't exactly be the end of the world if things did go wrong. At least I would have experienced some of Thailand that most people don't. I'm in my early 30s, 12 years older than her, and I've still got fatherhood on my long-term radar. She claims she'll be ready in 4 years. Obviously, I do not want to rush into something like having kids, but it would be nice to have one in the not-so-distant future before I get too old. The whole setup actually makes sense to me. I can really picture this working out better than I'd admit out loud. Also, in that village economy, I'd basically be like a high roller without even trying. I've done some research on her place, and it seems she is close to everything I need. Restaurants, bars, malls. So this isn't just some isolated village in the middle of a jungle. I'll set hard boundaries from day one, spell out exactly what I will provide for her and her family, and I'll make damn sure she understands my limits in this arrangement. And I'll make it crystal clear from the start. Every year, I'm gone for 3 solid months, no family in tow, and that is non-negotiable. Then, when I'm too old to jet around, that's her cue to return the favour and look after me. If her aunt can make it work with the 75-year-old foreigner, why shouldn't we? We only have a 12-year age gap between us, which I think is okay compared to some of the other viewers that submit their stories. I also don't think she is scamming me, unless I've overlooked something, so for now, I think she is being absolutely legit. I might as well lean into this while the going's good. No reason really to overcomplicate things right now. As I said, if things do go wrong while I am there, I can always travel back to Pattaya and continue my fun Thailand experience. Despite what people say about Pattaya and the guy that submitted the story not long back, I personally think it's a fantastic place. I've been there once, and it's the best city I've ever been to. Yes, this experience might turn out bad, but the start of it happened in Pattaya, which I'll always remember. So no, Pattaya is not a cesspit, it is a paradise. So what do you guys think, if you were me? Would you return to the girl and see how the whole thing turns out? I'll be reading the comments, and I'll submit a part 2 if I ever do decide to go and meet her again. Thank you.